Santa?
Ho, ho, ho.
All right. I have 10:03, and did Santa pick up the phone? I think he did. He knows good phone etiquette, right? So anyway, thanks for bearing with us there. I'm Nikki Wiedemann with Dead Ringers, and I'm here with my friends and colleagues, Paula Masters, Brent Thomas, and behind the scenes, without her, our producer, director, camera lady, Mandy Hungerland. So we are all here today to celebrate the gift of great CX. And when we say CX, we mean customer experience. And I think this year for us at Dead Ringers, that's really all that it's been about. So we want to share some fun things with you here today around those. And each of us will talk a little bit about what we've experienced in working with you over the year and what can really help you, I think, giving you a gift that goes into next year. And what is your strategy? How do you approach folks? And it all starts with the phone. The experience begins as soon as the phone rings. So with that being said, though, we do want to give you a gift that's not necessarily business advice, but maybe to help you prepare for family members as they come over. And many of you may know, Paula Masters is also an excellent mixologist. He hosts a Sunday show called Quarantine Cocktail, and he's going to share one of those with us today. And it's a namesake of ours, and it's the CXpresso Martini. So I'm going to turn it over to Paula Masters here, and he's going to show us the recipe for this delicious holiday drink. Your gift from Dead Ringers and Paul.
Yeah, exactly. So how about this? There's not a lot of times in life where you get to go on a webinar and actually not only make a cocktail, but drink a cocktail. So yes, I don't know any better drink that we could do for all of you than the CXpresso Martini. And this fills a couple buckets too, because a lot of people say espresso martini and it's espresso. So we're going to play with it. It's the CXpresso Martini. It's a great, easy one. Get a little shaker with some ice in it. Here you go. You ready? We'll send out the recipe when we're done, but it's not a bad one. 2 ounces of vodka. Always fun to do at your desk, by the way. So we'll do, there's 1 and there's 2. Oops, spilled a little extra. Nothing wrong with that. Then after that, you're going to go 1/2 ounce of coffee liqueur. Kahlua, I know a lot of people are familiar with. If you really want to step up your game, though, I'm just saying cream de mocha. This is a great brand that I found down south in New Orleans, and I live by it now. So 1/2 ounce. So you get that. Then turn around. You need espresso. So about 1 ounce already made. And there it is. And after that, little simple syrup. You don't need to do simple syrup, but it can help. I mean, it's like coffee, right? It can be a little strong. So about 1/2 ounce. And then guess what, kids? That's all there is to it. Give it a little shake. Everybody already have theirs? Nikki, you're doing espresso. There it is. We're going to put that right. Oh, look at that. That is lovely. Now I'm going to tell you, though, the last thing is the garnish on this. The garnish, a lot of people don't know, but it's actually, I have it right here. It is 1, 2, 3 espresso beans. Hold on.
I forgot those. Darn it.
I think this will work. Hold on. I think
I got them.
Yeah, you got them?
I did.
All right. Now those beans, those are there's a tie to it. Those represent health, wealth, and happiness. So to everybody out there, to to your health, wealth, happiness, and then to this webinar.
Yes.
My
guys-
start. I must have too much espresso and not enough vodka.
Always a
I'm
problem.
loving it that it's 10 a.m. where I am.
I love it.
I am having my coffee drink for the day, right? Here, one more little sip before we get started. Woo.
I'm gonna have to practice and make some more.
All right. Well, if it's okay, I make an executive decision after that drink. I feel a little more powerful. I say we ditch the videos that we'd have planted just because of some of the audio quality that we have. And I think I want to lead more with a little interaction from the group if you guys are okay with that. Are we cool? Oh,
Sure.
There's the recipe.
Ooh,
Nice.
this is Jay's old fashioned.
Yeah, so the recipe's here in the chat, but also we always send out a post-webinar email to you since you've listened in, and we'll have a link to this recipe as well. So thanks for that. But let's see what you guys think out there. So this particular drink could be considered a tradition. Maybe it's a drink that you would serve up as before the family comes over, or you enjoy the parties that you go to. So out in the chat, just briefly throw out what you think is your favorite family tradition as far as Christmas is concerned. What about you, Brent? What's your favorite family holiday tradition?
Oh, we got a couple of them, but we started a new one that I want to tell you. So we're going on year 2, and it fits what we're doing. It's the Christmas Eve cocktail. So between the 4 kids, right, and then their significant others, we have one daughter's married, so I say one son-in-law, but each group picks a drink, and then we do as well. And then what's great is Dane, my daughter's boyfriend, he works for the company that does like glassware for all of the huge resorts and things. So we always get a catalog, and that's what they get us for Christmas is everybody gets a set of glasses for whatever the drink is. So it just makes it, we did fun last year, so we're doing that this year again. So everybody's already looking. Last year, somebody made their drink just a little too strong. Woohoo! It was a rough one, but that's become a fun tradition now that we're all older. So
nice. Well, anyone out there in the chat, feel free to throw that in there because we can all kind of see the chat going back and forth. Paul, anything that you'd like to share quickly before we move on?
Real quick, 2 things. One, I want to be in on that tradition. And 2, my name, P-O-U-L, a lot of people still don't know that is correct. It's Danish. So my family, all from Denmark. So we have a lot of Danish traditions. One of the greatest ones, my mom still does it. I don't. We actually, our Christmas tree, we have live candles that we put on the tree. So the tree is covered with live candles, and you light them, and then you let them burn. And everybody that comes and sees it, they freak out. They're like, "My God, you're going to burn your house down." But my mom, to this day, she still does it, and people that we will have groups that come over that want to see this Christmas tree with all these lit candles. So I still put the candles on. I just don't light them. But yeah, that's our crazy tradition.
Well, I'm not going to say much about ours, but there's something called a peppermint pig. If you guys want to just Google that later, it's and you may be familiar with it, but it's something from a long time ago, and it's a pig made out of peppermint, and there's a hammer that goes with it, and it's a part of a tradition that you hit the pig and then take a piece of candy and it goes around the table. However, I do want to mention 2 things here in the chat. Sweet iced tea, and I know Doug Gober's down from the south. There's nothing better than good sweet iced tea. And also Jay Jacobson, talk about giving gifts. They host a $100 tip lunch at a local restaurant each year. I think that's amazing. It looks like Rosalinda, our friend Rosalinda in Phoenix, has given us a great holiday cocktail too. So Rosalinda, we'll choose that, put that in our post email as well. So wow.
I'm reading it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm looking at.
Yeah.
That fits with the Poncho Claus, right?
Yes.
Tradition. Yeah, that's neat. I'm gonna have to try that.
All right, everybody. Well, let's thanks for letting us have a little bit of fun here. And that's our gift to you today too, is just to make it a little light. But if you think about the holidays, it's all about the experience, right? Sometimes we may feel like it's really stressful, but my tree went up. I don't know about you. And there's something, a gift about just seeing that. And as we think about our funeral homes, our cemeteries, maybe pet loss, whatever we're doing, do we have more heightened experiences during the holidays than we say throughout the year? And we really need to be consistent in doing that. So thinking of giving the gift of a good experience to people all year long. So I'm just going to share some quick concepts that I hope that you'll embrace. And again, you'll have this material in the post webinar, but it's also available on our website. We've written white papers about all of this stuff. That's how important that we feel it is. So I'm just going to take you through a few concepts around what is called CX, or customer experience. And I like to think of how you run your business. Are you transactional? And if we think of transactional, is it clinical? Just the facts, ma'am? I think maybe in some cases that's okay, but are we more building relationships or relational transactions? So that's really the difference between, are you just robots or are you doing your best to create a good experience for families? And I mentioned it all starts with the phone. And in my few years in the profession, I'll be going on 36. I've seen the really great things in the funeral home, but sometimes the phone doesn't match up with that and vice versa. So if we're doing all of these great things to build experiences, say it's the arrangements conference, it's our use of technology, it's our decor, it's stepping outside the bounds of the actual celebrating a life and having our facilities available for folks. Those are all awesome things that we're doing as a profession to build excellence in creating experiences. But if we're lackluster on the phone, you're not even getting people in the door. So we want you to really think about that the experiences aren't just, hello, this is Wiedemann Funeral Home, right? It all starts with tone of voice, all of the things that create a good experience. So we like to focus on the 6 pillars of customer experience. And it's a concept that we've embraced not only in content that we create and consulting that we do as far as customer experience, but it's something that we've embraced too. And it may have been haphazard with our technology this morning, but that's all about creating an experience. And we had fun with it. It was genuine, you guys. And that's another thing that's a customer experience, and that it's genuine and that it's not forced. So the 6 pillars, one is empathy. And that's, if there's a profession that empathy is a requirement, it's ours. So what are you doing to be empathetic with your families? And the basic definition of empathy is understanding or thinking of having yourself in someone else's shoes. And I had a colleague mention to me, he said, I always think of the phone when it rings that it's an emergency for someone. I thought that was really powerful. And if we're not approaching every call in that way, we're not being empathetic in what we do. So one of the pillars is to exude and embrace empathy in a genuine way. Another pillar is time and effort. So are we having our clients do the work for us, or are we taking the time and effort? And I also think taking the responsibility to be timely in returning calls. That's something that we measure from start to finish. So are we timely? If we're asking families to call back because there's no one there to take a call, let's say we're all busy on services, we're putting that effort back on them. We want business to be easy. And I'm sure each of you have had clients tell you, wow, I didn't realize that you could make this such a meaningful and easy process by giving them just the time it takes to do this. And so the next pillar that kind of feeds in that is, are you setting expectations? So this is how the process is going to go. And I think of this when we do our phone training, and even Paul's going to hit on this, and that we just don't want to willy-nilly say things. We want to make sure we're in the boundaries of what's legal, but letting folks know that, if I call and ask for pricing information, don't just give me the price right away, right? Ask questions and then set expectations of how the process works. And so, digging into not just reading your GPL or looking at your price lists and things that you have handy, but engaging and then setting expectations of how things are going to go. Now, let's say those expectations get derailed a little bit. The next pillar would then be resolution. So if there is an issue, you do everything you can to create resolution around that issue, and not, we may hear, well, that's just our policy. Have you ever been told that? How does that make you feel? So taking the steps, going above and beyond to create a good resolution to a problem. And research has shown us if you have a good technique around resolving issues, sometimes people are more praiseworthy of you. It turns into a better experience because you went above and beyond to resolve an issue. Next is integrity. I also think that kind of feeds in with empathy as well, but doing what you say you're going to do, being purposeful in what you do, being legal. We have Paul coming up in what you do. So a good experience is when you provide integrity, and it's kind of the underpinning of what you do. And then the sixth pillar I'm going to share with you is personalization. And I think we've gotten good at this with pushing or opening up an app, plugging someone's name in, and then printing it off. I call that mass personalization. That's one way to go about creating a good experience, but personalization is also listening to what people are telling us and honing in on things of a loved one that really can make a big difference. Personalization also means using their names. We measure everything at Dead Ringers, and I want to say maybe only, gosh, Britt and Mandy might be able to correct me on this one, but it's getting better. It's getting better. But I want to say only 60% of the time do we ever ask for someone's name. How do you personalize a conversation if you don't know who you're talking to? So I hope that you find this gift of mine to you about thinking through things through an experience versus just transactional will be helpful to you as you move forward in what you do from day to day and creating good experiences. And, as we're working through our time here together, is if you've just jot down maybe one or two items that you think have been helpful to you to creating a good experience. And also after this webinar today, those 6 pillars, how are you embracing those? How are you using those in your business? So that is I could talk about that all day. And I think people know that. So really appreciate you listening to that. And then before I break into that, a gift that's been given to me this year from the friends and colleagues that I work with that work with us here at Dead Ringers is I've had the opportunity to hone my coaching skills. I know Brent and Mandy have too, and that we've been, across the screen here with folks and talking one-on-one with folks and listening to their recorded calls. And no one likes to hear the recorded voice, right? And those types of things. And, when I went into it, right. And when I went into this, I'm like, people are going to think we're Big Brother. It's like, no, you guys have been embracing this. And like, oh, I can't believe I sounded like this. I'm so glad that we've had this chat. And then I get coached sometimes too on, what they find that works well for them. So people are really embracing, I want to create customer experiences. And that's what I'm hearing in the one-on-one coaching that I'm doing. And it's not just me saying, well, you need to make your hold time shorter. That's not what this is about. It's about, here are key phrases that you can say that can really make a difference in people embracing them. And it makes that phone experience for us better, right? And our jobs are more fulfilling when we're not just, oh gosh, the phone's ringing again, right? So embracing it in that way. So I thank all of you who out there that have helped me help you. Does that make sense? From a coaching perspective, because it's the underpinning of all the coaching that we do, is that the goal is to create a good experience. A goal is not to criticize. It's how together can we make your families feel better and want to call you, and then the generations behind them will call you, and so on and so forth. So speaking of generations, we talked a little bit about traditions earlier, but one thing that we do in my family, a tradition that we have around favorite Christmas movies, is we always watch a movie together on New Year's Eve, and it's called The Thin Man. Now, it's, I like all the other traditional classic Christmas movies, but this is The Thin Man. It was set in the 30s, and it's this couple, Nick and Nora, and they're kind of a detective couple. And if you were to Google it, it's just fun banner, and it's set around Christmas time. So if you want some good laughs, maybe a new tradition on your own, my favorite Christmas movie, although it's never really listed in in Christmas movies would be Nick and Nora and the Thin Man. So they have trays of martinis, Paul, in the movie, and literally it's a coupe glass like this. I love the 30s. The fashion was, back then it was gorgeous and kind of the Art Deco feel and lots of good laughs. So that being said, anyone out there want to share their favorite holiday movie? Paul?
Well, so Nick, I have a follow-up question on this because there is a Nick and Nora glass that is that coupe.
Stop.
That's the name of it. And now I'm very curious if it comes from or the tie to Nick and Nora, because that is an actual name of a very special coupe glass. It's called a Nick and Nora. And now I need to go find out where that name came from.
Oh, absolutely it is. If you've seen the movie, it's all about the martini.
Well, there it is.
So I can't wait to pull up Amazon and order that one.
Yeah, get a Nick and Nora.
I didn't know about that, so thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's definitely tied, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, my favorite movie though for Christmas, I mean, I actually have a ton of them, but I have to watch Elf at some point, and that's become my new, and it's just amazing, and it's really because of the kids that they got into it as younger, so it's become a tradition. Christmas doesn't start until I at least watch Elf.
Yeah, that's a great one. So, Brent, what about you?
Well, I'm hoping if you can see it, this tells you the show. Does everybody know?
Oh yeah,
my name's on the back. I had to have it, so I had to buy the jersey. So yeah, it's definitely Christmas Vacation, hands down.
Doug Gober agrees. We have some other good ones here. The Bishop's Wife. That's a really good one. Brian, is Die Hard really a Christmas movie?
Isn't that the question?
And Alicia loves Elf too. So yeah, A Wonderful Life. Yes, Otto. There's so many good Christmas movies, and you're giving me a gift. I think you're giving my friends here a gift, and like, oh yeah, these are movies that I want to catch. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. That's a hilarious one, Mandy.
Oh, it is.
So lots of fun things. These great Christmas movies. So, all right. Well, thanks for that. And now it's Debbie Downer time. No, just kidding. No, but we've talked about customer experience, and we've had a lot of interesting training experiences when the FTC decided they started to want a phone shop. So we don't want to lose the spirit of customer experience, but we also have to be cognizant of that there are regulations and things behind that. So Paul, why don't you give us the gift of kind of what comes next as far as the legal part or the integrity, pillar around customer experience.
Yeah. And before we jump in, Mandy, do you want to give it a try?
Yeah, let's do it. As long as
Okay.
everyone's got some grace if it doesn't work.
We'll see what happens.
Buddy Deal, what's your favorite color? Put that down. Hello? Hello?
Perfect. Yes.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I know him. All right. So in the world of CX, I'm going to talk about the regulated must provide part of CX. And it's true. I mean, there is an integrity, honesty, provision to this. And, you say what you want about the FTC. That's the part that they're trying to enforce. They want somebody to be able to call, ask a question, and basically be able to ask that one question, and everybody has to answer it the same way. I mean, I'm not trying to defend the FTC. Trust me, that's not my job here. But it does bring up a very valid issue and point. And, one of the things that, I still see are people that struggle with this. One of the things that we found, look, the FTC, not only did they do this telephone shopping, project, they published a report on it, not once, but twice. They wrote a report about it, put it out right away. And then a year later, they thought, you know what, let's redo it. They redid that same report with a little bit more detail a second time. They really believe in this. And it's something we have to know about. But the one thing there's a few things here. One, don't let the requirement overshadow just the basics of good customer service. And I see that a lot. And I think that's one of the things, Nikki, you brought it up. It's when somebody calls and says, hey, I'm wondering how much is cremation. You go $6.95, and then you hang up. The FTC is not forcing us to become transactional. They appreciate and understand. If somebody calls and says, hey, I want to know about cremation, you can ask questions. Hey, did you suffer a loss? Is this an at need? No, I'm just getting prices. Okay, great. Can I get your name? You're allowed to ask people's name. The FTC doesn't care. And then you say, well, it's actually for my mom. Well, can I get your mom's name? You're allowed to have good manners. You're allowed to, again, create a safe space in it. Now, the other part of this is if they say, no, you can't have my name. No, I'm not going to tell you. Then, yeah, you have to start now getting into the price. You can't withhold it. But that at that point, too, there's nothing that says you have to give the lowest price first, or that's the only price you give. You can explain this. One of the things that this goes back to the very, very beginning of Dead Ringers. And it was actually one of the fun things that I get to see. The very early calls, we tried to have we had some open-ended questions and then we had closed-ended questions. And my favorite early on, because when we would train Dead Ringers, we would say, look, you have to let them talk. So if they give you the answer, if they don't keep going, you have to stop. We had to change that a little bit. And my favorite question we ever used to ask was, do you sell urns? So this is a question. This was we would call up a funeral home and say, hey, do you sell urns? And number one answer, yes. And then that was it. It was over. But our Dead Ringers were so good that they wouldn't do anything else. So there would just be this awkward silence of like a minute. And then finally somebody would basically hang up, like somebody would give in. But I mean, talk about transactional. Do you sell urns? Yes. That, folks, and that's what we see even now with pricing. You're allowed to add to this and ask why. To me, hey, do you sell urns? Well, we absolutely sell urns. Can I ask why you're looking for an urn? I mean, that's an easy lead in. When somebody calls up and says, hey, I want to know how much cremation costs. Well, we have cremation, ranging, anywhere from, we have a package with, a service, visitation, for $3,000, and we have immediate cremation, for whatever, $995. Can I ask what you're considering or why you're considering cremation? What is it specifically about cremation beyond price that you want to know? I mean, there's lots of things. Here's the big part of this, though. If right now you don't know what that answer is, then you're not prepared. And that's part of the customer experience. You can't wing it. And the problem is that's what the FTC found out, is that funeral homes are winging it. And that means when they called a second time, they would call one time and they'd get a price of, cremation, it's about $800. Then they would call back a second time and somebody would say, well, it's actually $1,295. And here's what it is. Well, that discrepancy, that difference, that's a penalty. That's actually, a violation of the FTC. You've misrepresented now. $200 is the number that the FTC is kind of unofficially decided is too much of a gap. So that means if one person in your organization talks about cremation and another person does, and they're representing kind of the same thing, but at different prices, you can get in trouble. So again, this comes down to customer experience overall, though, because you want to answer their question, but you want to be thoughtful and you want to be accurate and you want to provide good information. So there's a lot to this. I always encourage people. Now, I encourage people to really take this seriously. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of last things and then I'm going to hand it off. One, we just came off of a government shutdown. I didn't publish this and I didn't say anything, but during that government shutdown, the FTC actually was not really enforcing anything at the time. They just didn't have the manpower. Obviously, they weren't in. So in the last 43 days during that shutdown, you could have gotten away with not giving out any pricing information on the phone. That window is now shut, people. It's gone. It's over. You're back on the books. You got to and don't do that. Don't wait for the next government shutdown and then being, oh, hey, we can do whatever we want. But here's the gift that I think could be coming. And this isn't my gift. This is the FTC gift, but I'm going to share it with you. This is kind of like a lump of coal gift. So yeah, you're welcome. Well, hey, one of us has to do it, right? Right now, the FTC is still deciding if they're going to update the funeral rule, what they're going to do. Most likely, a lot of people now are believing nothing's going to change in the next few years. Here's the issue. The FTC still has the power to shop. And in meeting with the FTC, they still believe that the rule needs updated. And what I believe they're going to do between now and probably the next few years, they're going to try to build up as much evidence as they can to hopefully show why it needs to be updated. That means they're probably going to still go out and shop. I believe they're going to do another phone shopping survey. It's the easiest thing they can do. They don't have to send anybody out. They can sit at their desk. They can shop 500 funeral homes in a couple of days. So I always tell people, and we hear this, one comment we get when we do calls, people are like, I knew it was a shopper. I always love that. And here's why I love it. If everybody who says, it's kind of like going to Vegas, how'd you do in Vegas? Oh, I broke even. If everybody went to Vegas and broke even, Vegas would not be in business. And if everybody that knew we were shopping or the FTC was shopping, nobody would get in trouble or have a bad score. Folks, we still have bad scores and we still have the FTC, people getting in trouble. So if you do know you're being shopped, you should get 100. You should not get anything wrong. The FTC should never have any violations. The problem is I agree. You do know you're being shopped and you still don't do a great job. That is horrible. So I hope you take it seriously, grow that CX, get something together so you know how to answer these questions, because I think you're going to have those calls coming in the next year from the FTC. There's your lump of coal. Bah humbug. Merry Christmas.
Wait a minute. Then I should wear the bah humbug hat.
Yeah, the bah humbug. Yes.
There we go.
I guess I should have worn that.
Yeah, it would have been perfect.
Hey, I'm a lawyer. I don't ever have good news, right?
That's fair.
Although, I mean, it is a gift that you're giving that what we do is not easy, you guys. I mean, there is no silver bullet here. And, we have to embrace that this takes practice. It's rehearsing. It's, practicing with each other. And Paul, I do want to mention that, the people calling in and like, do you sell urns? And yes being the answer. You mentioned the question, what is it, I can help you with around urns. Like we'll call in and ask those questions. And the one most important question is has the loss occurred? And so, talk about customer experience. We'll go down this path thinking maybe it's a price shopper, it's a pre-need call. And then we find out after we've done our spiel, and it is a spiel, you guys, that's what it sounds like. Then they're like, well, I need to talk to my family. Like, oh, somebody died. Right. So that's the first thing. It's an emergency. Every call is an emergency, whether it is or not. And keeping that at top of mind, that's kind of the personalization piece of customer experience. It's the integrity piece. It's empathy. All of those things feed in together, and that we get into our own mind, I think, too much. And we need to embrace empathy and think of the folks calling in. People don't do this every day, although we do, right? And so embracing that we are helping and guiding people through this process. And the FTC is just one component of everything that we need to do. And if we're too focused on that one component, then everything else kind of trickles away, if that makes sense, if you see what I'm talking about there. So thanks for that, that lump of coal that you shared with us. So maybe we can turn the tides a little bit. I think maybe Mandy has another clip, I think, if she wants to launch that for us. I'm surprised that wasn't someone's favorite. That's The Christmas Story. And yeah, I'm now in my mind hearing the word fragile. The movie, and a lamp with the leg. And anyway, so the phone again is a powerful thing. And anywho, that
Yeah.
was fun. So that being said, let's move over to Mr. Griswold there in
Yes.
Indiana, and kind of talk about the next piece of our gift giving here today. And Paul, you mentioned open-ended versus closed-ended question, and something that Brent's going to be sharing with us is kind of how active listening helps to create a good customer experience. And if we're not really listening, everything that we do is a closed-ended answer to those kinds of things. So I think that's a good segue into what Brent has to share with us. So take the floor.
I will, but Paul, did you have one more?
Brent, it's all good. I was just going to say that movie every time I see it, because it is such a classic. If anybody has never been to Cleveland, where that house is, that's amazing. But right down the street, there is a bar, and that bar has all themed cocktails based on A Christmas Story, and it is fantastic, and it is worth the trip. Since we've been drinking the whole time, I had to throw that in. Brent, talk about something serious.
Again, I sit back and go, of course Paul would know about this bar and the drinks that it has. I'm surprised we didn't get more of a history story into when they opened it and things like that. But just having fun, Paul. He's always got the great information. So yeah, but hey, I'm gonna do something first. We got an early Christmas gift. So I found out on Thanksgiving morning when they came in with a nutcracker, because I give nutcrackers to the girls. My daughter's now 30 and 28, and then we got Taylor and Drew at 20 and 22, and been buying nutcrackers for years. So they brought me one, and on the bottom it said "Ma'am and Paps," and the ultrasound was connected to it. So I have a grandchild on the way. Found that out on Thanksgiving, and just found out on Monday of this week it's a girl. So yeah, and I kept telling them, like, come on, I'm gonna be 90 by the time they graduate. Let's go, guys. But anyway, so that we got our great gift. So the sad part for them is their Christmas is over because the grandchild will get everything. So,
yep.
but they'll figure it out. All right. So yeah, I mean, the easiest thing we can do, and I'm going to say this, let's take this around the holidays, right? Active listening. Sometimes in the holidays, we see some family, maybe we don't see them all the time. And I think about my grandfather, right? Where I was a teenager and he was in his 80s. Boy, if I would use active listening more then. So what I would have learned, what I could have, the relationships you can make, everything with it. So let's think about that. The gifts you can give yourself by using active listening. And I'll explain how it works with our families too. But if you're really into it and you want to write this down, it's the word layer, but not with a Y. It's L-A-E-R. So the L is listen. Obviously, the first thing we do in active listening is we have to actually listen. Perfect. Thank you, Mandy. Then the next one is an A, acknowledge. And acknowledge, right? When we're talking to somebody, is us kind of shaking our head. We're acknowledging that we're listening. Or on the phone, we can't do this because they don't hear it, right? So we got to kind of do a little bit of a okay, those kinds of things. Or So then we're acknowledging. What that does is it lets people know we are actually listening. And maybe it's, okay, tell me more, those little things, whatever it is you do. But the goal is we then want to explore. And I know most of us, when we hear something like, how much is your cremation? We want to respond. It's $9.95. I'm asking you, don't respond. Do the acknowledge and then explore. So now a lot of people say, well, exploring, I mean, how do I do that? That's tough. Well, exploring is asking a deeper question. But the easiest way to do it is just reinstate. Or here's the best one I like, is if they say it right up front, is how they get pricing on cremation. You can just go, well, I understand you're looking for pricing on cremation. May I ask who's calling? That's the easy one. Now I got the name too. I just try two things gone in once. And then after they give your name, you say, well, Mary, thank you so much. Now, could you tell them a little bit more about the cremation pricing and the cremation you were thinking about? Just get her to talk, ask questions. And when she says what it is she's looking for, maybe you need a little clarifier, explore one more time. If you can explore 2 times before you ever actually respond, you will watch a whole new conversation occur. So what I was saying for Christmas, I think about it, had I really known this and been better to practice it, what I would have learned as a child. just talking to my grandfather. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was an architect, everything. When I would walk in, he'd go, give me the square root, tell me pi. And I'd have to keep carrying it out by decimal point in my head. So he was very math oriented. So it was fun, but man, the things I could have learned, but just to take that on and say, wow, if I'm hearing you right, could you tell me a little more about this? Right. Just to carry that on. So that's what I say could really be a gift to yourself, is when you are talking to folks, you could learn so much from them. Ooh, I like that, Paul. We got Lair with 2 E's. I like it. Laeer, because we need to explore twice. Oh, Mandy got it first. Mandy gets everything first. We already know that. We're all just here. Mandy just tells us what to do and fixes our mistakes. But so anyway, I wanted to add that in as an easy one. And Mandy fully agrees, which we would expect. So any of you a lot of you already know it. A lot of you use it. Some of us use it and don't even know it. Now, here's the other added bonus. I feel like I'm an infomercial. One more for free. If you do it today, you will get empathy. You will be sharing empathy with families. They feel like you're a big teddy bear hugging them because they listened to me. They wanted to know my name and they asked me more questions. It's the easiest thing we could do. And what I tell everyone is start practicing it. You won't do it every time. You won't. That's okay. We're never perfect. But if you try it, I bet you get some cool Christmas gifts out of it. So that's really it. It's that simple.
Hey,
so
Brent, can I add something here? I wish this was a measurement that because we love to measure things, but I just love going out, and the best part, I learn something new every time I meet with the great people in our profession. And if you guys can do this back at your funeral homes and cemeteries, I just test it out. But people who deploy the Lair method, that kind of concept, or they've taken a new approach in how they've answered a pricing call where they do spend a little extra time. And let's say they're more expensive than their competitor, and they may even say, well, you're more, LeMaster's is, less expensive than you. I talked to them. And then you have this experience. Well, I lost that call because of price. And then the next day that family calls back and says, you know what, you're the only ones that listen to me. Even though you're more expensive, you took the time. And so you guys out there, if that's happened to you, each time just make a note of it if you have a database system that you're using, that this is how this family came to us, and that we deployed the 6 pillars. We used a list, the listen, acknowledge, explore, respond, what you're doing, and start measuring that on your own. And that these anecdotal things are gifts. Those are gifts, and that you feel, gosh, you guys just took the time to listen to me. And we hear people, say, you called me back. I can't believe that there are businesses out there today that people call in and we're not calling them back. Every call is an emergency. Every call is an emergency. So, those kinds of things. Sorry, I took over, but I'm so passionate.
I'm going to now we're going to get doing what we do, because I got to bring this one up.
Okay.
I just listened to a call. Mandy and I both listened to it. And because we have some recorded calls because of some different ways now, instead of us fully calling. But anyway, this was a true caller. This was a recorded call that was recorded right on a different kind of phone system, but we're able to review the recordings. The gal had called on Wednesday of last week, was just getting the call back yesterday, and they were calling back from the message that they got on the day before, right? And the gal goes, no, that's because I called you back because you had never called me. This is the second time I've called. And she literally said, I've already called this other funeral home because they didn't give a call back. I just had to bring it up because, guys, I wouldn't think that happens today. But now, out of fairness, was that a system? Was it an answer service? What caused that to happen? Who knows? You got to look deeper. It's not always the person who called back, but I'm telling you, it just happened to us. We just heard we heard the recording today when we were reviewing it. So yeah.
That's time and effort. The pillar, time and effort. That's exactly what it is. The family, they had to call back.
Yes, they did.
And that's when you take a hard look at your systems. Time and effort is all about the flow of your systems. So thanks for sharing that example with us. It's unfortunately a lump of coal, but it's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's one of my favorites. I like the cartoon better, but I think, Mandy, if you can play the next clip, it'd be fun.
Any calls?
You have no messages.
Odd. Better check the outgoing.
If you utter so much as one syllable, I'll hunt you down and gut you like a fish. If you'd like to fax me, press the star key.
Oh, wow.
He is so talented. That is a Jim Carrey, right? I do want to point something out that just kind of popped into my head listening to this is the recorded message, you guys. If we do have a recorded message that we're playing, find someone that has a good speaking voice. Find someone who's engaged. That's kind of what's my outgoing message? Thinking of using, the best voice that you can find in those particular things. We've heard some interesting things. He said, press a button. If we're calling into your business, how many buttons are we having to press to get to someone? And when it comes to customer experience, that's time and effort where we're giving the client does all the effort in trying to get to someone. So the Grinch had it right when he, what can I do to make this a bad experience for anyone who calls me? I don't think you want to gut your clients like a fish, but we have to think about every little thing. That's customer experience. Every little thing can make an impact. And yeah, Alicia, I hate pressing those buttons too. And one other thing, and then I'll move on, is if I am answering the phone, talk about an experience, and let's say a frontline facilitator, that's what we call them, the people who maybe take all of the calls in and then transfer them to another professional in the building. They gather all of that information. They make a good connection. They let their colleague know who's calling and why. And then that colleague that answers says, "Hi, this is Nikki. How can I help you?" And then they have to repeat all of that information all over again. So it's similar, Alicia, in that it's calling a credit card company. What is the first thing they ask you? Please key in your 16-digit credit card number. And then when you get on the line with someone, what's the first thing they ask you? What's your credit card number? Right? Thinking of things in those manners, those are all frustrations, and that takes away from a really good customer experience. So anywho, let's see here. Let's let Brent give us a little gift here before we kind of open up for questions.
All right. A gift. Let me think about this. I'm not really thinking. I'm just pausing and grabbing more time. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. You know what? No, Paul's right. I should have a drink first.
Mine's almost finished. That says.
Well, there you go. Nice. I was being good. I didn't want to, go off of the rails at the end. So yeah, we thought we should pass a gift. And there's nothing better than the gift of learning or best practices, or maybe a trick or a tip. So most of you know that it's out there. And if not, you do now. You're going to find out. We have CXpertise, our learning library. It's our on-demand online learning library. You can jump in, start things, stop in the middle, and come back. We are going, for anyone on this or that's been registered for it, we're going to offer you, let's make sure I say this correct, but free access to our CXpertise until Christmas. Do you see how we put in that time delay there? No, it's good till Christmas. Actually, I think so what's going to be is it's Boxing Day. We're going to box it up on Boxing Day. Is what's going to happen. I believe that's the 26th, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to box her up and be done. You're welcome to stay on after that. Oh, look, Mandy already got the form out there for you. There are tons of different things in there, whether it's crematory, cemetery, answering phones, pre-need. There's just tons of folks have added to the library as well. I wouldn't go looking for mine right now because there aren't any in there, but I'll do that soon enough. We'll get one in. But Nikki's got a ton of great ones in there as well. I know Paul has some, Mandy does. There's so many other folks that might even be on the call to have some in there. But yeah, so you're welcome to use that link and grab all of you can between now and Christmas. So it's our little way of saying thank you for being here and entertaining us while we entertain ourselves on a webinar.
Customer experience is also an internal experience. And that's another key thing I think about having an organization that embraces customer experience is that you have internal experiences, just like you've seen with us today. And, it takes a team. You can't have the "it's not my job" mentality. And you create a culture that it makes it fulfilling. Answering the phone should be a fulfilling experience. I think most of us got into this profession because we care, and taking a hard look at that and the gifts that you give to your community, the families that you serve, and to each other, being empathetic with each other shows, I think, to client families, and being consistent in that. So we have Brian. He's like, wait a minute, I already paid for this. Sorry, I had to laugh. Brian's been great today. He put a non-Christmas movie as a movie. No, that's my opinion. Sorry, but
I agree. It's worth a shot.
yeah,
That means you can. You
Matter
can
of fact,
take a shot tonight.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. That next time I see you, I'll get you a shot.
There it is.
Yeah, so this has been great. So everything that you've seen here in the chat will be in the email that comes to you after the webinar today. We have recorded this webinar, as we always do. This one may go down in prosperity, but it's out there. If some of your staff couldn't be there today, it might be a fun thing to play over lunch, to kind of get into the spirit, but not the spirits.
Well, if you are looking for the spirits, we got a lot of recipes here.
You can do it. I know in some funeral homes and cemeteries, you offer, adult beverages. So, maybe that's something that you can include in that particular experience. But anyway, I do have just a quick announcement, and then I want to open it up for questions. And Mandy can put this in the chat too. But we're starting a new year. In a little over a month, we'll have our first webinar for the year 2026, and that will be on Thursday, January 15th, and that's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I don't know, we may should start our own little drink for each webinar. Yeah.
I love it.
Never mind. But again, we are so thankful for everything that you've done to support our business, and you're a real gift. And we hope that you've enjoyed the little gift giving that we've given today. But I'd like, if you would like questions or comments about chat, I know Jay has shared some great things about he put a link in there about the $100 tip, other things that you might want to share with the group that you find helps to create great CX within your organization. And then we'll wrap up. So anyone out there have anything that they'd like to say?
Well, while you're looking for those and we're watching for them, I'm going to put one out there.
Okay.
So we are going to have an announcement coming. We're going to have a large announcement, something new for us. It's actually going to be announced at the Tech Turbocharge, the event for Funeral Vision. That's in Baltimore on Thursday. And right now he's running half off on all the seats remaining that he could add to the room. So if you're interested in that, I highly suggest it. I think there's 5 presenters, 7 total. So there's a lot going to be in there. Talk about tech and AI, and we're going to make an announcement then. So hopefully you if you're in the area, you can get there and be a part of it. And I'll try to add the link here for us in a second.
Yeah, Mandy, of course, Mandy has it for us. So tech, TECH, turbo, TURBO, charge, CHARGE.com. Yeah.
Did you already hit it that quick?
Yeah, she's on fire. All right. So any comments or things you'd like to add in the chat? And as always, you can reach out to us afterwards if you, we embrace feedback. So anything that you can share with us and comments around CX, just phone skills in general, we're here to take your feedback. So Alicia, she's thankful. We're thankful. She says, I have to leave and provide a family the CX who arrived in half an hour earlier, and I'll follow up on a Q&A after the arrangements. That's awesome. So
Love it.
Thanks for what you do in serving your families. Any other comments? All right. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Our gift from Paul today, our gift to you is with some ideas around great CX. And we will see you next year. And hopefully we'll see some of you on Thursday at the TurboTech if you're able to attend. And I appreciate my colleagues. I appreciate you. And happy holidays from Dead Ringers.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy